Good morning, Chevra. Today is the 15th day of Teves. Happy birthday, Shalom Kasowitz. Today is Sunday morning. We are in the Chayenu on page 76. Page 76, and we're halfway through not even halfway through, but chapter 12, which discusses the Beinoni, which we're going to be discussing for the first part of this week. We're going to be learning the first part of this week, and the Beinoni and chapter 12 is really, to me, is really very, very important as far as understanding what the Alter Rebbe's motivation and purpose of writing this entire book of Tanya. And we're discussing how a Beinoni, in thought, speech, and action, serves Hashem just like a tzaddik. However, he still has temptations, struggles, challenges, desires. He just doesn't act upon them, think about them, or say anything that is inappropriate. In today's lesson, the animal soul cannot cause the Beinoni to actually sin. The animal soul is powerless because it is not the sole authority. And the Beinoni's mind, which appreciates the truth of the godly soul, rules over his actions. Doesn't mean it comes easy, but it does come completely. That the Beinoni controls and rules over his nefesh habahamis. Good luck, Ziggy. Tell Benny I said he's got it, okay? I'm expecting some good report here. All right. Rak shaloi loy levadoi b'mishpat hamalucha v'hamamshala ba'ir eino yochel lahitzi tavos imikayach halapoil v'slavish beivdei aguf. So because the evil of the animal soul has not the sole authority and dominion over the city, the irktana, the city within the person, for the good of the nefesh alikis, the divine soul, situated in the brain, has its say as well. It's unable to implement this desire by clothing itself in the limbs of the body. So the animal soul might want to exercise his strength, but he can't. He gets pushed down each time. Ma'asid dibura machshava, engage in deed, thought, and speech. Lahamik machshavte b'tainage oilam hazeh ich lamalo yistayvus liboy. And when we talk about thought, we're talking about actual thought, meaning to concentrate its intention on worldly pleasures with a view to devising means of satisfying the lust of his heart. He's thinking, how could I get this and that? So even the thought process is controlled by the godly soul and the Yetzer Tov. So the Beinoni's desire for worldly pleasures will cause thoughts of such matters to rise from the heart to his mind. These thoughts are beyond his control. It's a very, very important point here. That, yes, the Beinoni does not speak ill. He does not act inappropriately. And he doesn't think or concentrate on his evil desires. However, they do enter his mind. That doesn't mean you're thinking bad thoughts. If something flashes into your brain, they could be evil, but that's the work of the nefesh habahamis. That's the work of the Yetzer Hara. The Beinoni and all of us, good people, what we're able to do, what we have to do, is be able to push it out right away and say, no. You're not going to get a foothold in my mind so that I think about that during Shema, Shemona Esrei, or any part of my day. So let's consider it, we call it like a pop-up. In the old days on the computer, you're on the computer, suddenly, boom, this pop-up, and they were so annoying. That was back in the early 2000s. The kids today, they don't know about that. Oh, you know what they do? Sometimes today, if they're watching a video on Facebook or something, an ad comes up, and if you click on the ad, it'll say, download this game or whatever, right? So what you have to do is quickly exit out. Sometimes it has to go for 3 seconds or 5 seconds before you can exit out. Okay, so we all know what we're talking about here, okay? Let's not pretend we don't check Facebook every day or once in a while. So that is the pop-up that we're talking about here, that the nefesh habahamis, you didn't go there, you didn't look for that. So what you want to do is the minute you can is exit out. Get rid of it. And that's what the Alter Rebbe is going to talk about now. So the brain has the ability to rule the heart. Yes, there might be thoughts, there might be ideas, there might be an image that is inappropriate to be in the mind of a Yid in general, and particularly a Jew that's davening. And you say, oh, it's there for 3 seconds, but I got to press that X immediately. Don't you dare go to install it. If you install it, now it's in your brain. Now you're going to think about it more. What the Alter Rebbe is saying is that we have the ability to rule the heart. Why and how? Man was created from birth, that every person with the power of his will in his brain, that Hashem, the will that Hashem created of his mind's understanding, he's able to restrain himself and control the drive of his heart's lust. You could say, I guarantee you, once in a while, you'll say, oh, I can't control myself. You ever been in a meeting with your boss? You ever been on the train where you want to shout, you want to say, but you don't say a word? Why? Because you learn how to control yourself. The same way, you learned how to control yourself there. You learn how to control yourself between the King of Kings. You learn how to control yourself when you're davening and when you're learning, and that will give you the ability to control yourself the rest of the day. Because when you start your day off right, you're way far ahead of the game. But if you allow that ad to percolate, and you might even chas v'shalom click it and say, let me download it. I'm not going to play it every day. I'm just going to check it once in a while. What you do is your brain prevents the heart's desire from finding expression in deed, word, and thought. And if he can, if his mind will it, divert his attention completely from that which his heart craves and turn his attention to the exact opposite direction. If you want to, you have the ability. Somebody told me recently he started Shemoneh Esrei. He gets to the end, he realizes that it's the whole entire Shemoneh Esrei. He probably said every single word. You could say it by heart, by rote. Gets to the end, realizes he didn't even concentrate on a single word. Before finishing, he didn't even go 3 steps back. Says, I started over from the beginning. And he tried to think about each word, tried to think about the meaning of the paragraphs and the words. So if you want to, you could do it. And if we could take our mind and shift it to a different direction, let's shift it towards holiness. I'm sorry. The pasuk says that I saw that wisdom surpassed folly as light surpasses darkness. We could bypass these pop-ups. We could bypass these images and these thoughts that pop into our brain. So just as light has superiority and power and dominion over darkness, a little light banishes a lot of darkness. If you're in a bright room and you come, how are you going to make it dark? You have to start closing every single window and turning off every light bulb. You can't bring darkness in. You just have to close out the light. But if you go in a dark room and you have one little tiny flashlight, you have your phone, you put on the flashlight on your phone, suddenly you can see everything in the room. Maybe you have to point the light in certain directions, but you're able to banish a tremendous amount of darkness. It's very, very hard to take a bright room that has multiple areas of light coming in to make it dark. But a little light drives away the darkness. So too, we could drive away the foolishness of the klipan sitrachara that's in the left side of the heart, all these ideas and thoughts and images and disturbances and frustrations that happen during any time, really. But I'm focusing on the davening here and there. Our sages have taught us that a person does not sin unless a spirit of folly, stupidity, shtusim, enter his mind. And our sages describe the desire of the animal soul as folly. Anything that the animal soul wants, whether it's some lustful thought or some physical desire, whatever it might be. So when we automatically banish, when we bring in the wisdom, when we bring in the light, we automatically banish the evil thoughts out of our minds. We banish the darkness with the neshama, which desires to rule over the city. The neshama, the godly soul, wants to pervade the entire body with the three garments of Shem Achshava Dibur Ma'isa Shal Tayag Mitzvah Torah K'nis Galil. The godly soul wants to control the thought, speech, and action and focus them on the 613 mitzvahs of the Torah as discussed above. So we're still discussing the Beinoni. But in the Beinoni, this desire of the divine soul in the brain, that it alone pervades his thought, speech, and action, and hence his entire body controls the lustful desires, which the animal soul arouses in his heart. And yes, every day and all the time comes up ideas and different thoughts that are inappropriate for a tzaddik. Inappropriate for a tzaddik. So the tzaddik doesn't get those. But the Beinoni does. And what he does is he has the power to push them away. Instead of thinking how to get rid of them, focus instead on something positive. Prevents their actual expression because of the natural supremacy of mind over heart. We have the ability to control our hearts by controlling our minds. Embedded in your DNA is that your mind can control your heart. Make a firm decision in your mind to do that which is right and totally reject any challenges that your heart raises. Have a wonderful day and a good tevach. All the best, everyone.